What's going on, everybody? It is Everything Fantasy Football back with another best ball draft. I'm going to hop right into a Schnauzer 2. I'm really trying to hammer these Schnauzer 2s as they're filling up quickly. Waiting for 6 people. That'll be like, literally 30 seconds. As you can see, this one's $3 to enter. It's already 70% filled, so once it fills, the tournament will go away. They will potentially release a Schnauzer 3. Most people, like me, like myself, already did their first 20 entries with the Schnauzer 1. Now we're looking to do our 20 entries on the Schnauzer 2. First place in this tournament will take 100 grand, second place 50,000, third place 35,000, fourth place 25,000, and then you guys can obviously read the rest. You can come in 310th place and still make $100, and then if you come in 31,000th place or better with any of your entries, those entries will make $3. You'll get your $3 back. So we're waiting for 3 people here. If you're totally unfamiliar, this is Underdog Fantasy Football. You can make all your regular sports bets on Underdog Fantasy. If you guys see it, I'm on Eastern time. It's 8:24 here. So Game 6 of the NBA Finals starts in about 6 minutes. If the Thunder win, then the NBA season is over. They are crowned the champions. Shy MVP gets his championship. So we'll definitely be watching that here with my girlfriend. But let's see what we got. So the draft, we're 1 away, so it'll start in a couple seconds. Just ran one of these. If you're interested in watching more, feel free to go look at the other videos on my page. Just ran one of these and got pick 11. And now I get pick number 8. So not in love with pick number 8 or 11, but hopefully one of these top 6 talents. In my opinion, the top 6 are all like really, really solid this year. So if one of the top 6 gets to me at 8, I'll be pretty happy with that. Also, just excuse me in advance. We're in Florida, hurricane season. If it starts thundering or lightning, I got a couple cavapoodles here that might start barking. So, just excuse them. But yeah, I always say if you've been watching these videos or if you're watching a lot of fantasy videos, just feel free to leave a comment. Who are you drafting? Who are you not drafting? Like, who are you fading and trying to stay away from? I'll definitely, as you watch my videos, I'll kind of explain who it is that I've been drafting a lot of. But if this is your first ever Underdog Best Ball Draft you've ever watched, then it's important to know this is no time commitment during the NFL season. You just draft, sit back, relax, okay? Every single week, Underdog will put forth your best lineup. So your best QB, your best 2 running backs, your best 3 wide receivers, your best flex, and your best tight end. So then the 10 guys on your bench are the guys who didn't make that cut. You're competing against thousands of people to try to win that grand prize of $100K or any of the other prizes I showed. So I'll give you guys a look at the board. It goes Chase, then Barkley, totally standard. Typically the first round, second round, it usually does stay pretty standard. But yeah, let's have some fun. Let's hope I can draft a really solid team. Going to be looking to pair players from the same teams as much as possible. See what I can do. So B-John goes there. Let me see. 4 away. Nobody's fallen or, going out of line yet. Justin Jefferson. I'm a big Lions fan, so I'm really hoping for Jahmyr Gibbs this season. 2 away, and Gibbs is still on the table. I will hope that he somehow gets to me here. If not, I'll probably go McCaffrey. If McCaffrey, to win these things, you have to be bold. So McCaffrey's the highest, if you look a couple seasons back, he's the only guy who's been on this pedestal, 360 points. Could go, I'll go McCaffrey here. I like McCaffrey. I like being able to pair other 49ers players with McCaffrey too. At this point in the season, I've done over 150 drafts, right? So I've drafted every single one of these guys. I have, 8 to 10 teams of every single one of these guys who goes in the first, second round. But now, after doing my first 150 drafts, and you'll see for yourselves, I'm really trying to iron out who I want to draft a higher percentage of, right? I want to have every player covered. I want to have an opportunity no matter who has a really breakout season. But now I'm worried, like, how many CeeDee Lamb teams do I have? How many Malik Neighbors teams do I have? Those are the 2 guys that I've probably drafted the least of in the first round. Not because Malik Neighbors isn't a absolute stunning talent, but because I don't know who's going to throw the ball. at least for the majority of the season. If Henry gets back to me, I'd be happy. If Achane gets back to me, I'd be happy. I'm happy to go with either one of those guys. But yeah, I've been having a ton of fun. Like I said, we're 2 or 3 minutes away from tip-off. I'll keep finishing this video. I know the game will come on in just a minute here, but I'll make sure to have it muted so I can focus on the draft. But excited to just watch some basketball, make some of these best ball teams. It's, $3 per entry means, if you want to do all 20, it's $60. So, okay, all the running backs went. Now it's like, do I go London? Do I go Brown? Do I go Bowers? Do I go McConkey? I'm going to go McConkey. Because I don't know how many, if any, CMC McConkey teams I have, I'm definitely going to go CMC McConkey. He's one of my favorite wide receivers in this class. Not in this class, but in this tier. He had an explosive rookie season last year. But like between Brian Thomas, Ladd McConkey, Drake London, who is going to be a stud this year, A.J. Brown, who's a stud, maybe even Rashee Rice, T. Higgins, that whole tier there, I think I like McConkey the most, so I've been leaning towards lately trying to make a few extra of my McConkey teams. See, pick 8's interesting because we're not too far away still for our next talent. We went 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, which, gives us some opportunity, some flexibility. Let's see. Going to look at some of my pairings. Nothing this early, like potentially Ayuk later on, or Ricky Pearsall later on, or Trey Harris later on. Could even go Purdy or Herbert later on. And then if one of those top 5 stud QBs gets to me, like a Joe Burrow at the right time or Jaden Daniels at the right time, whatever it is, Jalen Hurts, I will pick them. I have no problem doing so. I love Marvin Harrison. If he could get back to me, he's the 3rd highest talent. Let's see. Give you guys a look at the board. Great start so far, though. Okay. Marvin Harrison goes totally fine. I've been drafting a ton of him, so I'm happy, to not grab him on some of these drafts too. Same with McConkey there. Like if McConkey slips or gets stolen from me, no problem. I like to make some more A.J. Brown teams, some more Drake London teams. Chase Brown goes. We're 3 away. Let's look at talent. I like Tyreek Hill this season. Kyron Williams, Josh Allen, Mike Evans. I probably want one of those QBs. Maybe one of them will get to me at 41. I don't think so. It would be more like Jaden Daniels. And then it would be like Hurts 50 or Burrow 60. So what would my next 2 picks be? They'd be the 56 and 65. So I can at least grab Burrow. It's Jackson Smith-Njigba or Kyron. I think Kyron's the funnest. You know what? I'm gonna go Josh Allen. I know that was a little bit rushed. I just think I don't have that many of the Josh Allen teams with these guys, and if these 2 guys are home runs, I want to have a Josh Allen team there too. I actually like taking Lamar Jackson more than Josh Allen because of the rushing upside, but I just felt like I don't like Jackson Smith. I have a lot of Kyron, and I'm not in love with Kyron. I feel like he keeps falling to me. Lamb Jack goes, no problem. I feel like the difference between Lamb Jack, Josh Allen versus Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, those guys are even lower, is just huge. So on this team, I'll take one of them. Neither one of them would have gotten back. Jaden Daniels could arguably not get back. I almost like Jalen Hurts more than Jaden Daniels this season. I think when you look at the C.J. Stroud experiment, it kind of scares me from Jaden Daniels this year, but they have a lot of star power. So, they defeated my Detroit Lions in the conference finals last season, or the championship. What do we got? Okay. We're 1 away. Xavier Worthy goes. I would have taken him. Jaden Daniels goes. So like I said, do I go with Jamison Williams, DJ Moore, James Cook? You know what? I'll go Josh Allen, pair him with James Cook. I'm not in love with taking James Cook, but when I have Josh Allen, I'll do it. So feeling great about Josh Allen, James Cook, could be the best team in the league this year. Ladd McConkey, wide receiver 1 in the whole league upside this year, in my opinion. And then CMC, of course, running back 1 upside. So we will definitely take that and roll. I like to worry about my wide receivers a little bit later, but every single draft is so different. That's why these are fun to watch. That's why, it's fun to watch people like myself rip a few of these drafts before you go put your own money into it. And like I said, some of the higher risk ones will be, soon to come. I have to bang out some of these schnauzers before it fills up, but I will make sure to do some of every single tournament on the app. James Cook's interesting. He kind of irritated me last season. I think he finished the year with 16 touchdowns. And yep, he finished the year with 16 touchdowns, 1,000 yards again, 2 seasons in a row. He missed a couple games due to injury. I don't know if it would have told me. I don't think this actually does. But this is what he did that irritated me. One night, I was sitting with my girlfriend, and I was telling her that the only player I needed to score was James Cook. So we're watching the Buffalo Bills game. I'd have to look up which game it was. And James Cook scores a touchdown. I'm ecstatic. Then he scores a second touchdown. I'm ecstatic. And then probably about by the third quarter, he already scored a third touchdown. And I'm like jumping around the room. That's how ecstatic I am. I think I was against my brother in fantasy that week, and we have a little bit of a higher stakes league. So I was definitely excited. Then the next week, he'll give you 8 points. So it was a little frustrating with him how he would give me 32 points and then 8. Whereas like a guy like Kyron, it felt like he was often just giving me 22 points. I'd almost rather just have my 22 there. Or Chase Brown last season, who was like a league winner. I'm pretty sure the guy who won $2 million in Best Ball Mania here on Underdog, he had Chase Brown, Joe Burrow, and Jamar Chase. I don't know if he had T. Higgins too. I think he actually might have. But so Chase Brown was like a league winner. So James Cook is somebody I'm not, again, in love with, but on a Josh Allen team, I feel really good about it. 2 away, I like Pickens. I like Mixon, Addison. You do have to worry about the flex. I think here it's a little bit bold, but like these wide receivers, somebody will be there on the way back. For right now, I'm going to take Joe Mixon. I don't know how many teams I have that are even close to CMC, James Cook, and Joe Mixon. That should make sure that with Ladd McConkey, I have the flex and my 2 running backs filled every single week. One of maybe the best quarterback in the whole league. And then a guy, McConkey, I'm expecting to have a big year too, who I will pair with Trey Harris, and I will overload this team with wide receivers and tight ends. So that's where these teams can really be mastered, is in your rounds 10 through 16. We are 4 away. I would take Addison in a heartbeat. Jawan Jennings to pair with Christian McCaffrey is fun. Did Brandon Ayuk? No, Ayuk's even further down. So I could come back to one of those guys. 2 away. If Burrow's still there, I almost would take Burrow. That's like sure thing. Quarterback dominance every week. 3 running backs, almost dominance every week. And then like just hope I can hit some home runs at wide receiver. I would have really liked Jawan Jennings or Jordan Addison there. So now it's like Chris Godwin, Jacoby Myers. I am going to do something a little unique. I'm going to go Joe Burrow. I would never typically do that. I probably haven't drafted any teams like that. But I have 3 beast running backs, and then I have Josh Allen, who's probably the best quarterback in the league. Joe Burrow, he slipped to me. Now I have 2 of the top 5 QBs in the whole league. Every week I'll have QBs producing. Every week I'll have running backs producing. So now I think I will literally draft 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more wide receivers, and then I'll go for my tight ends. Yeah, or I'll mix wide receiver and tight end, as needed. I could grab one more running back, like as a real late blanket, like Rico Dowdle all the way down here, pick 174. But other than that, I'll be sitting firm here. People in the draft are probably like, what the heck? He took Burrow, but... And people watching might even think that. But I think wide receiver is a less predictable position than running back and quarterback. So I can just draft 8 later round values. I mean, is Jalen Waddle really going to be my difference maker this year versus getting like 8 solid guys? Or like Joe Burrow? I mean, Joe Burrow can have his 40-point week the one week Josh Allen doesn't. And then the rest of my guys just need to do their thing. So I like having a couple unique teams like this. We're 7 away. If Deebo Samuel's there, I'll take him. Jaden Reed, Khalil Shakir to pair with my Buffalo lineup. I like that a lot. And then Ayuk, I like. A lot of running backs left here. It is June 19th. Like I said, Game 6 of the NBA Finals just tipped off. Thank you guys for watching. We are still about 2 months away from the season. So by the time the season starts, I should have about probably 35 videos up on my page. So please show some support. Send it to a friend. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever you guys can do to support. I definitely will be making these videos for years to come. So I really do appreciate it. Shakir goes. I would have really liked him here. Happy with Samuel. Happy with Diggs. Happy with Ayuk. Happy with Mooney even. I'm going to start to overload the wide receiver, though. I can't take any of these running backs. This guy already has 5 wide receivers and only 1 running back, so he'll probably take a running back, whether it be Caleb Johnson or Isaiah Pacheco. So I'll take Deebo Samuel. Not somebody I'm like in love with this season, but he could impress. Wide receiver 2, Deebo Samuel, that's probably one of my weakest drafts ever in terms of just wide receiver 2. Ayuk goes there. I could have made the argument for Ayuk to pair with McCaffrey. I did say that earlier. I had a feeling he would get back to me here. I was just wrong, but that's okay. I'll look at Mooney, Downs, Kupp, Diggs even. I like Kupp. I know that he doesn't pair with any of the guys I got, but there are some Houston wide receivers later. Downs goes, no problem. All right, game just tipped off. Diggs goes, no problem. It would be a little bit savage of me to go Brian Robinson Jr. because now I have like 4 running backs, no matter what. 2 running backs and 1 flex every week should be filled. But then it's like, is wide receiver so weak that it'll never fill the way I need it to, so that I'm throwing away a good start? Whereas I can grab a different running back later. Hawkinson doesn't pair with anything. I think it's going to be Kupp or Egbuka. I have to take some wide receiver upside talent this year, so I'll go Kupp or Egbuka no matter what. Hopefully it's Kupp, though. I like Kupp and Samuel. 2 guys that are kind of like, we don't know what's... Yeah, nice. I'll take Kupp. I know that he didn't impress at the end of last season, but a couple years ago, Kupp did impress. So let me show you a couple years ago for him. So, I mean, this guy, 16 touchdowns, 1,900 yards in 2021. And then he fell to 800 yards, 730, 710. But he missed probably 6+ games each of those seasons. So I like Kupp. I don't know why his ADP is as low as it is. I don't think it's too low by a lot. I just think it's a little low, but that's my case on Cooper Kupp. I'll take another set of wide receivers. Definitely Keon Coleman. We'll hope he makes it back to me to pair with Josh Allen and James Cook. I think Keon Coleman can be the Buffalo Bills wide receiver 1 this year, but even if he isn't, I like to take Keon Coleman and then later on around here, take Josh Palmer. So then you have 2 of the top 3 wide receivers for the Buffalo Bills. And then on this team, obviously I have Josh Allen and James Cook. So I definitely like this roster. The Joe Burrow pick is one that is a little outside my comfort zone, but when I had the running backs on lockdown already, I figured do something fun, do something a little creative. We're 8 picks away. Emeka Egbuka coming back to me would be definitely my favorite option. Keon Coleman could make it back to me. And then Trey Harris to pair with Ladd McConkey. I think that's like essential for this team. So it might even be Trey Harris over Keon Coleman. I could go either way. 7 away. So as long as one of those, or even Egbuka. If Egbuka makes it back, then it's just a nice fall. So any of these 3 guys, 7 picks away. Let's go look at the board. So, as I'm the guy who's making the video and recording on the day of the NBA Finals, I'm going to make a prediction. I think the Indiana Pacers win tonight, and they push another game. I think that Tyrese Halliburton, I got a notification around 6 p.m. that he's healthy and he's going to play tonight. I think Tyrese Halliburton has 19 points, and the Pacers win. But my ex-favorite player in the whole NBA, Pascal Siakam, I think he'll have 24 points tonight, and he'll keep the Pacers alive. I don't think that the Thunder will end it tonight. So we'll at least live to see a Game 7. We're 2 away. Both my guys are still there. So, okay, so no matter what, I get either one of these guys. Happy with either one of them. Egbuka went. That's no problem. So what do I want to do? Go Keon Coleman or Ladd McConkey? I am going to go Keon Coleman. Trey Harris is so fun to pair with Ladd McConkey, but later on I can take Quentin Johnson, who is another guy. I think he had 8 touchdowns. Yeah, 8 touchdowns last season. I'll pair Quentin Johnson with Ladd McConkey and hope that Trey Harris just doesn't have a great rookie year. I've drafted a lot of Trey Harris, so if he has a good year, no problem, but I love this start. Next, it's still going to be hammering wide receivers. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, so it's kind of like I like Bateman, I like Kyle Williams, I like Mims. Beck is fun, Quentin's fun, Leggette's fun, Palmer's fun, and then that's pretty much it. McMillan. For my top choices, actually Voshivash, because it's a Burrow team. So I'd go Michael Wilson, Demario Douglas, Pat Bryant, Voshivash. Don't probably set your teams up, your cues up the way I am. I have kind of a little bit of a unique thing I do here. Like next pick, I'm worried about this. But Jonnu Smith is still there. I probably will take Jonnu Smith. Some would argue to take Scadaboo or even Najee Harris to pair with Ladd McConkey. But I think I'd rather take Jonnu Smith. What do I do? Pick 113. Scadaboo's there. Purdy's there. Don't need QB. F it. I'll take Scadaboo. I don't want him there. I should have taken Jonnu Smith because I don't have any tight ends, and he's a strong tight end 1. But if Jonnu Smith has a bad year, I'd so much rather add Scadaboo. You have to have a flex every week. So now I have 4 running backs who can do something this season. Now it's tight ends and wide receivers all the way through. 2 of the best QBs in the whole league. So I'll just search by both. I'll undo everything I've done. Sorry about that pick. Cam Scadaboo's not my typical pick there, but I really want to be unique. As I've done a lot more of these recorded, I have to be unique, right? If I do 350 drafts before the season, you can't pick the same guys every draft. You have to, add some variation, do something different. Kincaid, because I'm going with the Bills. Big Q. McMillan. I've drafted McMillan a lot. I think Jalen McMillan's my most drafted player in all of fantasy football this year. His ADP is 159, so he falls around pick 160. Last season, he had 8 touchdowns. His little blurb says facing tough target competition. That means Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and then, of course, the rookie Emeka Egbuka. Chris Godwin isn't going to start the first 6-7 weeks, so it's really just going to be Egbuka, Mike Evans, who is getting older, who got a year older, and Jalen McMillan, who had 8 touchdowns last year. So that's my most drafted player in all of fantasy. If you've stuck with the video up to this point, then that's a little bit of insight for you guys. I draft him more than anybody else. I will keep drafting him more than anybody else. I think that's the most underrated pick in all of fantasy football. I will definitely make a video going through some of my top 5 underrated, most underrated players. And I will show you who I've drafted the most of, who I've drafted the 5th most of. So stay tuned for that. But Jalen McMillan is currently my most drafted player. I could, no, it's got to be Marvin Mims or... I'll take Mims. I think he's like the clear best wide receiver left, and this team's a little weak at wide receiver, or should I say pretty weak at wide receiver, but it's strong at running back and flex, and it's strong at QB, so I'm happy to be a little weak at wide receiver. Once you see how deep I get at wide receiver, like, look, this team's a 2-4-5-0. I will draft 3 tight ends. I will probably end up with 9 wide receivers. So I will cover my ground. I will make sure that every week I at least have 2 pretty competitive scores at wide receiver. And then the third one, a little bit of a guess, right? But if I'm loaded everywhere else, then this team will compete. Tucker Kraft goes. I want to worry about pairing some guys. Like Kincaid is still there. That might be a good tight end one. And then I'd have to draft like 4 tight ends because Kincaid's not set to have an amazing year. We all know that. Freiermuth could be good. Braxton Strange could be good. Henry could be good. I have Burrow, so Gesicki could be fun. And then later on, take Voshivash. Hope that like T. Higgins or Jamar Chase goes down with injury. Suddenly I have 2 or 3 of the, or 2 of the best parts of the Bengals offense. Jack Beck's still there. Unfortunately, if Jack Beck is still there, I'll take him. I've been overdrafting these. Sorry, I was looking at a little Facebook notification for a tailor-made QI35 for sale on Facebook Marketplace, but now it's sold. If I'll go Kincaid first. It's the most responsible choice. I really like Beck. I've been drafting a good bit of Beck. I have to go Kincaid because I have no tight ends. Kincaid's not really, like I said, set to have a great year, but he's paired with Josh Allen, James Cook, Keon Coleman here, so I'm happy to take Kincaid. This is a Bills team, so if the Bills end up being a Super Bowl caliber team like they should be, this team will compete. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks away. If you're still watching, like I said, thank you for watching. Please feel free to check out my other videos. I really do appreciate it. As you can assume, I'm like an analytics nerd sitting there watching, hoping my videos are getting out there so people can see, my draft strategies, what separates me from some of the other drafters. I think a lot of these guys kind of replicate some of what they find on YouTube. I don't. I do a lot of bold stuff. I try to be a little bit different. I don't think doing what everybody recommends is going to win because there's thousands of entries. So if you're not unique, you're not going to win in these tournaments. Whether it's a $3 entry or a $50 entry, you do have to be bold. I will definitely make a video covering the 150 plus teams I've already drafted. You'll see I usually draft 4 tight ends, which separates me from the pack. I'm convinced I've done enough fantasy football. I've played enough fantasy football, countless leagues, countless seasons, where like a Kincaid and a Likely or a Ferguson, it's never enough. I'd rather have 4 tight ends so that every single week I have at least 1 tight end who is putting forth a good bit of points. But, to each their own. Joshua Palmer's my favorite pick left. I'm 5 away. I know I need tight ends, but I won't worry about it ahead of Palmer. This is definitely a Bills team if I've ever drafted one, which I'm happy. I'm happy with that. Let's look at bye weeks. Week 12, the wide receivers will struggle. So I do need to I do need to get a little bit of a variant. Josh Palmer set to make back to me. I'd be very happy with that. I could probably still get McMillan here at 161. Yes, Josh Palmer makes it back to me, guys. So this team is really solid. I'll go through the whole roster, name by name in a little bit, but we're 2-4-6-1. We definitely need tight end help, and we definitely need wide receiver help, but definitely one of my stronger drafts, especially for the Schnauzer 2. All I'm trying to do is come in like 18th place, win 9,500. I'm not aiming to win the 100,000. I'm aiming to play some of these teams around 18th. Play some of these teams around coming in 33rd place. Make $1,500 or something like that. We're 2 away. Braxton Strange, Pat Freiermuth. So who did I lose? McMillan went pick 153. So that guy maybe thinks the same thing I think about McMillan, and that's no problem. I've drafted him so many times. I'm happy to not take him actually for once. I'll probably take Pat Freiermuth here. I think standalone-wise, he's the strongest tight end at this range. Hunter Henry's fun too, but I'd pick at 176. Yeah. Braxton Strange should be competitive. They lost Evan Ingram. I am going to go Pat Freiermuth. I love Pat Freiermuth. My brother-in-law, Rolando, is a huge Steelers fan. He, has always been a big Pat Freiermuth supporter. So if you read the news about a week ago, they drafted Aaron Rodgers. So I'll support Pat Freiermuth on this team that's a little bit weak at tight end. 4 picks away. We're getting there at wide receiver, but we're not there. And then we do need a little bit more help at tight end. I like Freiermuth so much that I don't need to draft 2 more tight ends, but I need to take 1 more. I could even take 1 more QB. If you watch my other video, you'll see I took Sam Darnold late. I'm happy with Sam Darnold. 35 touchdowns last year. He signs a big contract. I think it's $144 million with the Seattle Seahawks. So, I'm happy with Darnold here. If not, 8 away. Let's take a look at the board. Okay, 4 picks left. I need at least 1 more tight end, and I definitely need more help at wide receiver. This is not going to be enough to put forth 3 every week because it's not going to be Samuel and Kupp every week. So if Keon Coleman, Mims, and Palmer have a stronger season, then sure, I have Josh Allen. I support that. But it's still going to need some help. I'm going to need to get lucky. Demario Douglas just went right here. That's a guy I like a lot. What's Demario ADP-wise these days? 175. Yeah, he went at 169. I like taking Demario. I thought he would have gotten back to me. If Strange had gotten back to me, I would have been happy to take him here. I could take Jalen Noel. Hope that he has a little bit of a break with Houston. Pair him with Joe Mixon. I'd probably rather have Michael Wilson, who should be wide receiver 2 for the Cardinals this year. I got to be quicker. Let's see. I'm on the clock. Wide receiver 2 will be Michael Wilson. Yeah, I like to have that open. Jalen Noel to pair with Joe Mixon or Michael Wilson or Mike Gesicki. I'm going to go Michael Wilson. I know he's on a different team, but I think the Cardinals will be better this year, and there's not a clear wide receiver 3 that's making a fight. It's Greg Dortch, Simi Fehoko, who used to play for us, Xavier Weaver. Weaver. I like Michael Wilson there. I think the Cardinals will be better. I think Kyler Murray gets a lot of hate. I think they'll play stronger this year. And then next pick, I'll cover some ground. So Michael Wilson, I'm happy with him. I think Mims, Palmer, Wilson are 3 good guys to create 1 solid season between those 3. And then, I have 4 other guys to do some of the work. That's why it's fun to overdraft running backs, though. I should have 2 running backs every single week, no question. And then I should have a flex almost every week. So I like doing this. Now I gotta do a little bit of tight end work. I don't want to be weak there. Sam Darnold is still available, but with these 2 really strong QBs, I probably should just stick with 2. We're going to be drafting at pick 185, so if Jalen Wright gets back to me or Gesicki gets back to me, I'll definitely take them. Sam Darnold, maybe. just kind of like for his spike weeks. Three away here. Slayton goes. So still have Jalen Wright, still have Gesicki. I'll take Jalen Wright. Screw it. I'll take a fifth. Okay, he's gone. Give me Gesicki, give me Darnold. Those will be my two here. I like Calvin Austin to pair with Pat Freiermuth, but he could get to my next pick. 200's my next pick. I only have two tight ends, and neither one of them are a sure thing. So here, I'll go Gesicki. He's falling a little past his average draft pick. Let me just hope that Calvin Austin gets back to me. I really like pairing Calvin Austin with Pat Freiermuth. If not, Mason Taylor's cool. I like Gesicki there, though. After that, it's a little tough. Voshivash to pair with Gesicki. Yeah, these will be my three guys. So hopefully somebody gets back to me at 200. Give you guys a look at the board. Yeah, man, it's been a ton of fun. Like I said, forgive me if I'm a little down. I've been doing a lot of drafts lately, so I'm always usually here with the energy, here ready to have some fun. But if you haven't done any of these drafts, it's legal in almost every single state. Feel free to look up Underdog restrictions to verify that. But almost every state, if you can put $20 in, you're in for 6 of these drafts. So I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun, especially for a lot of the sports enthusiasts out there who love drafting or have done the old paper pen draft with your buddies in school. These drafts give you the opportunity to be creative and have a chance at making some money. We have 2 picks left. I already have 3 tight ends, good at running back, good at QB. So these 2 will be first, 7 away. I could almost get both of them. I'll start with Mason Taylor, but he isn't a sure thing to get back to me. And then Voshivash could not even get back to me. I definitely need another wide receiver. I need another wide receiver, and I need him to have a good season. I almost it's tough when you get this late. Roman Wilson's more of a dynasty pick. I'm going to have to hope that 3 of these wide receivers just have good years. Keon Coleman is set for a strong year, too. Marvin Mims and the Broncos all move forward. Joshua Palmer signs the contract. The Cardinals should move forward. So as long as I get Voshivash, that'll be 8 decent guys. I only need to come up with 3 every week. So, all right. I got Voshivash. I'm happy with that. So 1 pick left. I'll probably take another tight end. I hate worrying about the tight end position every week. I could go Conklin to pair up with McConkey. Wow, who's this guy moving up? Aronda. Sino. Four away, have to grab a tight end here, in my opinion, or another wide receiver almost. But I want to have some tight ends. I'm convinced 3 of these guys can put up scores every week. I'm not in love with this team. It's strong. I'm not head over heels, but 2 picks away. I'll grab a tight end. If 2 of my tight ends have a strong week, at least it gives me a flex. Any of these guys pair up? I'll go Ferguson. Rookie year, Rams should be an explosive offense. But here's the team. I'll give you guys another look. Drafting from the 8th spot. It's not very easy to draft from the 8th spot, so bear with me, right? A lot of these drafts you see on my channel, I'll be in the 1st spot, 2nd, 3rd, but for the 8th spot, I went with CMC, Ladd McConkey, Josh Allen, James Cook, Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow, Deebo Samuel, Cooper Kupp, Keon Coleman, Cam Scatterboo, Marvin Mims Jr., Dalton Kincaid, Joshua Palmer, Pat Freiermuth, Michael Wilson, Mike Gesicki, Andre Voshivash, and Terrence Ferguson. So I went with a little bit of like a Buffalo Bills, Bengals hybrid team here with some upside with guys like McConkey and Joe Mixon. But thank you so much for watching. Picking from the 8 spot isn't easy, but hopefully you guys like what I did. Feel free to comment what you would have done differently. And yeah, thanks for watching. This is Everything Fantasy Football. Peace.